Hey,
Hey Aditya, how are you?
good. How are you, Shakir?
Fine, thank you. It's good to be on the Good Series show with you.
Awesome. It's good to finally have you on board. One of the Empire brothers.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Hi, everybody. So, welcome to the Good City Show. As you can see, we've got Shakir Haq of the Empire Hospitality Group, Empire Ventures, correct?
Yeah, that's the name of the company. But as you know, we are fondly Empire. So we called the Empire Group, but the company name is NKP Empire Ventures, and I'm the CEO of the company.
Nice. So, give us a little history into how did you start? I mean, I know it's a family-run business.
Yes, so very much. We are a family-owned and managed business, and I'm from the third generation. Back to the history, it was started by my grandfather, my late grandfather, in the year 1966. It was
Okay.
started as a very small eatery. And, we, over the years, we've learned from our mistakes in terms of trial and error. Our dishes have evolved as the city preferences they've had in our city. And coming down to the late 70s is when my father, late Mr. Abdul Haq, who came down to Bangalore, and he was basically the one who grew the business to what it is today. So he started from,
Okay.
very back in the 80s, we were doing a daily turnover of about 600 rupees odd back in the days. And for today, we are operating about 30 outlets and turnover running into lakhs. And yes, with 3,200 employees. So but it's been a difficult and a very challenging time. Bangalore was nothing. Let's say the past 40 years, Bangalore has grown into be the IT hub. So we, at each milestone, what Bangalore was achieving, we have also grown according to the city growing. As and when people were migrating into the city, the demand started. There was, better preferences. People wanted better city in a hygiene, state, cleanliness, people serving. So a lot of things that we kept in our minds and took into consideration. So, like I was saying, it was a difficult time for my father also to grow from one to what we are now. Our growth story actually started in 2003 when we opened in Church Street. So that was a turning
Right.
point for Empire Group. That's when we started getting really popular with the crowd within the city. Since 2001, as the IT boom happened, a lot of migrants came in from across the country. A lot of people came down. With that, we've evolved our menus. We've added dishes which suit the customers who are coming in from different states, who are not used to this palette here in South India. So, Church Street being a turning point for us, we started getting really popular. People got to know us with the nightlife that Bangalore had. And, we are really popular among the night crowd. We are open late into the nights, feeding every hungry soul there is in Bangalore city. So, it's been difficult, but very challenging. We've seen a lot of ups and downs in the history of growth. But yeah, no company can grow without challenges and upside downs. That's the way you go up the ladder. So we have come a long way, and thanks to the foundation our fathers have set, it's been very easy for us, third generation, to take the business forward. And we are looking forward to multiple things that we will be doing in the coming near future. So there are a lot of things, exciting things that we will be doing as part of Empire Group.
Okay. So that's a great introduction into the Empire brand. But one thing that always inspires me, apart from like you mentioned, Empire being the place for Bangalore's nightlife to always be there. Um, Empire, when you look at your growth, you've always managed to have a great plan and process.
Right.
So, as a CEO and leader, how have you managed to keep up with the market, and then obviously expand? Because if you look at Empire Hotel on Google, if someone Googles it, you're practically in every neighborhood possible, right? Which is great. But how have you managed to stick? How have you managed to chart this growth plan?
See, Aditya, like I told you, we've evolved in many ways. So as the city was growing, we found many opportunities across the city in terms of opening our outlets. So and at the same time, opening outlets require a lot of resources. So with the history that we've had, let's say from 1966 to 2003, that is about 40 years. So in that 40 years, we've developed a name in the industry. We've developed some kind of a trust factor in the industry with our customers, with our suppliers, with our vendors. Till date, we have vendors who are, let's say, about 30 years old. We have multiple vendors who've been serving us in the last, let's say 3 decades. So with such kind of resources at hand, and the city growing in a very rapid manner, we've backed on every opportunity that we have had. Let it be in terms of opening an outlet. How do we look at a potential location? How do we understand? How do we choose a place? But what kind of a setup do we want? All this happened in time. So whatever the trend was in the market, we have tried and adjusted and changed ourselves to meet the market trend. So change is something which has always been very, very inevitable. But at Empire, we have always accepted change very positively. Let it be technology. Yes, we've adopted technology at a very young stage. Back in 2003, as we started with our Churchit outlet, we had computerized billing systems, which I'm sure at that point of time, not many restaurants or not many retail outlets would have. Then from there, we moved on to having our own integrated call center in 2007. At that time, I think it was just probably Pizza Hut or Domino's or such kind of MNCs running their own call centers with food delivery. So, like I told you, it was a trial and error thing. We've tested a lot of things in terms of the growing market. It was a very dynamic market that we are in. So, for us, it has been a trial and error. So we've tried and tested 100,000 times. We've failed 1,000,000 times, but, we've always come out strong. So that I would, attribute all that success to the team that we have. Having a backbone of, say, 3,000 people as currently, that is a great achievement. It's like a blessing for us to have such a strong team with us. Only with a strong team can you pull off the impossible. And we've done that. So like I told you, since we have suppliers and vendors ranging 3 decades, we even have employees ranging 3 to 4 decades. So such kind of, strong hands and strong shoulders being with us, it was, let's say, I would say sitting here, it has been a piece of cake for us. That we've come through all our challenges in time. We've had the right kind of advisories, right kind of mentors with us. Support from the public, support from the departments, let it be the police department, let it be multiple ministries or the food department. So, we've been able to manage with the resources that we've had, the team that we've had, technology that we've adapted, then understanding customer preferences and tastes. See, data is gold mine. So we've had data from a very long time. So we start acquiring data in a way that we understand the customer better. So keeping all these factors in mind is where we are right now. And, for us, customer satisfaction is the highest importance. So keeping that in mind, we've always changed ourselves, readied ourselves, gone around doing things in a way that we can satisfy every customer that walks into our outlets day in and day out.
So on that note, how has it been retaining 3,000 employees? I mean, especially in your industry, retaining employees is always hard. So how have you managed to do that?
Yes, as you rightly pointed, retaining employees is really very difficult and very challenging in an environment like this. Since we are, majorly labor-oriented, people-oriented, we need to have the right kinds of people with us. So managing that has also been a pain. But, we have the right connects with the right agencies and departments that are present in the city, supplying us manpower day in and day out. And we are employing about 60% of our employment is in the blue-collar level. Let's say our cleaning staff, our waiting staff, and majority of these guys coming from the Northeast and the backward communities. We've wholeheartedly accepted who wants to come in and be a part of this wonderful family. And a few have left, a few have stayed, and a few have left and also come back. Because, probably the accommodation that we provide, the service that we provide, and how we take care of them. Because, for us, we keep our people before anything else, because it is the employees who are treating your customers. So you treat your employees well, they in turn treat your customers well. So let it be, from in terms of paying them minimum wages, giving them their entire security of ESI and PF, insurance, taken care of, healthcare facilities given, whatever possible way we can. We've helped our employees also grow. We even have people from the same family. We have brothers from the same family working with us. There are multiple people like that. A lot of people coming in from different states, different parts of the country. We've never followed the thing that, we only employ so-and-so people from so-and-so community or so-and-so ethnicity. We are a diverse group, 3,200 employees as of now. And it's a proud feeling for me to say that we have employed every diverse ethnicity that is present in this country, and we will continue to do so. So, like I said, it's the staff, it's the technology. Before anything else. So it's through that we are able to retain.
But
yeah, it's the multiple things that we do in-house, in terms of giving them job security, giving them protection, giving them facilities for their families, in times of distress. We make sure that they, end of the day, when they're walking out of our restaurants after the day's work, they are happy. And we have our grievance addressing forums. We have people, we have the best HR people in place who are taking care of their daily needs or whatever personal needs that are there. So that's about it. We try and get into their personal abilities to try and understand how can they grow forward in life. Let it be in a personal level, supporting their family in terms of studies, if their siblings want to do something. So multiple levels we have done things for them, and we would continue to do so, attracting more and more employees into our organization as and when we grow forward.
Nice. And so that's awesome in terms of leadership skills. Tell me a little more about you as an individual. I mean, we know each other as friends over the years, and a lot of mutual friends. But let our audience know about who is Shakir.
To give you a bit of my educational background, I've done my hotel management and also finished my bachelor's in business management. And recently, I went on to do a certificate program at Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, where I did a program in family business as well as entrepreneurship. And it's been 10 years that I've been part of our family business. I started working after I graduated in 2009 is when I started. I started from one outlet training. Then I went on to go to Dubai. We had outlets there. I managed operations for 3 years. Then at one point, Dad fell really ill. So he was diagnosed with a fatal disease. So with that, I came back. At that point of time in 2012, I got married. I have a daughter who's 5 years. And post that, I've been completely involved in the business since 2014, I would say. And with that, I've learned a lot, gone through a lot of ups and downs, what the business is going through, been hands-on. And, with all that experience that I've gained over the years, I'm sure that's why, people saw their ability in me and gave me the honor to be the CEO of this company and to, drive this organization forward. And, I love playing billiards, snooker. I am a motorsport enthusiast. We love doing racing into cars and bikes, and love traveling. A pretty much happy-go-lucky guy. Calm and peaceful, hassle-free, a bit reserved, I would say. Not really free and open up with everybody. That's about it. Yes.
Hi, and then that's pretty cool. Yeah, I still remember I can't remember the year I first met you, but yeah, and it's been great over the years to meet different parts of the Empire Group. At what point did you all decide to expand the Empire Group? You launched other restaurants, you launched Karama, I think first in Koramangala upstairs, and then
we launched in Fraser Town first.
Okay. You had another restaurant in Koramangala upstairs many years ago.
Oh, so that was basically, they rented out that place, to another person, another individual doctor from Persia. And he was very keen on doing the food business, and he was doing a marvelous job. But somewhere, it didn't succeed because probably either his pricing strategy wasn't right, or the location wasn't on point, or he couldn't attract enough people from his community, because they are all very niche cuisines. Not everybody would want to eat a Persian kind of food every day. So he had a lot of limitations in terms of doing business. So they were here for a few years and they went away. So we took over their place and started our second outlet of Karama there.
So how did the Karama brand start?
It's a pretty very interesting story. Like I mentioned, we have our restaurants in Dubai as well. So Dubai has always been like a second home for us in terms of having a lot of relatives and family there. So for my dad and uncle, they were very keen on bringing down rich cuisines from, let's say, from Pakistan, where pre-independence, they had a lot of dishes which are very rich in flavor, rich in terms of ingredients. They have a very famous naan, which is known as the Karachi naan, which is quite bigger in size than the normal tandoori roti. So we wanted to bring that kind of a concept here to Bangalore. And then we decided that, that alone is not enough to bring in a lot of people into our restaurant. So the idea of Karama came up with this roti being the center of attraction. Then we added a bit of Arabic dishes to it. We added a bit of Punjabi dishes in a way, a bit of fusion, I would say. It is not the authentic Punjabi that we serve, but the taste is on par with the authentic dishes that we have. So Karama has, succeeded in terms of a brand, in terms of the cuisine offering that we have, in terms of the pricing that we have decided. So it's a hit amongst everybody. It's not a niche brand. It is a mass brand, just like Empire, but we've reduced the number of outlets to keep it more, exclusive. So we want to just do 1 or 2 outlets in a city. And talking to the future plans of Empire, we've also added a brand called Easy Bites. Now, Easy Bites is finger food, where we are serving crispy fried chicken, something similar to what KFC is offering. But, it's more in a way that it suits the Indian palate. The spicy, the spice quotient, the pungentness of the flavors, the spices that has been used. And the best part about that is we use fresh quality ingredients. We use fresh chicken across. We do not use any kind of frozen meat products. So when we say using a fresh chicken for a fried recipe, it turns out to be far different than the frozen kinds. So Easy Bites has come out in a way that we wanted to enter the food category as well. Because we've had a lot of our dear customers who believe in us that, we serve fresh meat, which is also a halal cut. Now, halal cut is not just concerning the Muslim community. Halal cut is widely accepted and recognized with other communities as well, because they have understood the science behind the halal cut. So when we say Easy Bites chicken is fresh chicken fried, yes, people loved it. And the pricing, where we have priced each chicken at 49 rupees. So it's again affordable, easy on the pocket, easy on the stomach, and fresh and fabulous. With that, we also started a pure vegetarian brand on our highway restaurants.
That was pretty interesting.
Vegetaria, it's called, and we have located only in our highway outlets. It's an ease of convenience. The commuters who are going from one city to the other. So, majority of our customers come in as a family or as a group. So we've always had senior citizens or children who prefer to eat light foods and not that very rich. And so they obviously prefer something vegetarian. So we brought a concept that is purely vegetarian, though it's located in the same premises. We have a separate kitchen, we have a separate store, everything is procured separately, everything is made separately. And that has been a hit again amongst the commuters who are traveling from, let's say, from here to Mysore, from here to Hassan, from here to Kolar. We have 4 highway outlets, and 4 highway outlets the vegetarian is present. And like you asked again, in terms of the future, yes, there are a lot of exciting things that we are planning and we wish to do. Yes, the unfortunate situation is such that we can't do anything for the next 3 to 4 months, but we'll be commissioning a new project wherein we are getting into other segments of the food industry. I wouldn't want to disclose in detail, but you would know in time that what we're actually planning to do. One thing is for sure, that we are going to be moving to a state-of-the-art facility very soon. That is going to be top class, where no other restaurant chain is probably managed, no other homegrown restaurant chain is probably managed to develop. And we want to be on par in terms of our standards. It needs to be on par with the ISO standard, your HACCP certifications or guidelines. We try and follow everything what the world, the statutory requirements are. So with all that, and again, transparency is key here. So we've always been transparent with our employees, with our vendors, with our customers. So, business is all about being transparent. So we've been transparent. People have seen our growth. So people have understood our strategies, why we do things very differently from the others. People have accepted the way we work, and our business model has proven to be successful over the years.
Sweet. And most importantly, which I think everybody must have asked you at some point, how did you all manage to create such a quick turnaround and deal with the corona epidemic?
Yes, that is very unprecedented and asked for, uncalled for. So as the COVID-19 thing struck, it was quite challenging for us. A lot of employees who got scared went away. They went back to their hometown. So we ran short of people to run the show. And then, but departments, governments, they were not very sure of what was actually happening. So what in the beginning, post March 22nd, we waited and watched like how it's going to turn out to be. Now, we know for a fact that the cases are going to get spiked even further. If you see yesterday, Bangalore had the most number of cases in one day across the past 2 months. So, and as per the government's guidelines, they were very clear in telling us we can only operate in terms of takeaway and home deliveries. And, it is such a time wherein the aggregators are ruling the home delivery business. So, with their technology and their resources, it was easy for us to open our outlets. And again, thanking our suppliers and vendors who have gone out of the way and, delivered our goods on time, dispatched our goods on time. And plus the employees who are willing to work in such conditions because like I told you, we are a people-oriented business. So we come in contact with multiple people, across the day. So a lot of people were very skeptical. A lot of staff were very skeptical to do this. But, we gave them the assurance that the city needs us. People are going to go in search of food. And Bangalore being an IT developed city, we have a lot of bachelors staying in the city. We have a lot of spinsters staying in the city. We have a lot of married couples who are, again, both working together and do not have the time to cook or, buy groceries. Some people even don't know how to cook, and it's not a bad thing. So why not we help the community? So we are here to serve food. We've always been serving food to the hungry. Let's say from morning till late in the nights. So why not continue that? Why should we close down? And we are in a business where we are on a foot 24/7. So there is no way we could get locked up and sit in our houses. So, we thought, though maybe we not be doing charity, but whatever possible way we are trying to do charity, we are doing it. But in a way that, as a community service, we had to be there to help our customers who are stranded, who are here without food, who can order in ease. Let it be through the aggregator platform like Swiggy and Zomato. Then we have our in-house home delivery app on iOS and iOS, will be ready in a couple of days. Android, we have our web ordering through mobile and desktop. So, there are multiple channels where people can approach us. So with the advent of, our online aggregators coming in and also a lot of cloud kitchen formats, we are also present in Kitchenzat. This is the cloud kitchen format here. They are also spread across the city. So with such support in terms of technology and aggregators, we are able to reach our customers in no time.
Okay. So in terms of technology, which you highlighted earlier, I had an opportunity a couple of times to visit that awesome office you are in currently. You've got some great technology there. Is there something you'd like to share? Yes, how you've always been ahead of the curve?
Yes, we've introduced in 2010. Like I told you, we started off with our call centers in 2007, and in 2010 we introduced walkie-talkies. What you see here, we use this for our operations. Since we have so many outlets and so many people, and we have centralized production and centralized store facilities. So this walkie-talkie has actually helped us in reaching out to our outlets, managing operations, managing supply chain, moving out logistics. So that has helped us a lot, again, thanks to technology. Post that, we came up with that was again a CCTV surveillance, but time came in and technology has improved so good that, even in our mobile phones, smartphones, we can see what is happening in our restaurants. So we've introduced something like a control room where we have multiple screens We have 24-hour surveillance happening. People are sitting on this walkie-talkie and managing operations. If they see something going wrong, they can call out to that single outlet and ask them what is happening. And let's say a delivery order is in place and is getting delayed. It's, crossing the benchmark time. We even follow our kitchens in a way that every order is followed, from the table order to a home delivery order to a takeaway order. We know when the time starts ticking. So we have benchmarked, timelines for each order, and it's very easy for our admin staff or our backend staff to monitor stuff. With that, we try and keep up in terms of our consistency, in terms of delivery times. Let it be a home delivery order, let it be a dine-in order. And, we've brought in so many SOPs in place to make us more efficient, to bring out productivity to the fullest. So, in terms of technology, yes. And we have a beautifully custom developed ERP system managing our inventory, managing our purchase orders, managing our, hub to outlets, centralized production to the outlets, multiple things. Everything can be done on your smartphone. All our staff are equipped with smartphones. They have their own, apps for them to get in touch with their departments and measure. So we try and minimize human, intervention in a way that we have to call on a phone and talk. So there's no time to waste. We are in the restaurant industry. We have to be on the go. And each minute saved is like, retaining a customer. So the better you deliver to a customer, it's more probable the customer is going to come back to us. So for us, retaining our customers is always been of paramount importance. So we have done everything possible. We've adapted. We've, evolved in every way possible for us to give the best experience to our customer.
Great. Awesome. So let's answer some of those questions that people have been asking. I see a lot of questions. Are you up for it?
Yeah.
Wow, you're quite popular, bro.
Yeah, a lot of people asking, consistency issues.
Right. Do you want to answer?
Suggestions? Wonderful. Thank you guys. It's always overwhelming for us to know that people really like us and want us to do better because they believe in us, and we want to go out of the way to meet their expectations in every way possible. We want to be known as a global food brand, not just a restaurant brand. Like I told you, there are multiple things, the new things that we're going to be doing in the coming years, in the coming months, that we will have our wings spreading across the globe. Yes, and the eternal support.
We've got an interesting question from Arjun all the way, Arjun Sharma. What does the CEO of Empire eat?
My favorite at Empire is the coin parota, kebab, and butter chicken. That is one meal any time of the day when I'm hungry, I always reach out to. There are times, I crave for my own food. Though we've been eating since our childhood, it never goes out of, fashion or taste. That is a go-to-go meal for me, at least. And otherwise, I love experimenting with food. I go around places, I eat whatever possible. I even went to the extent of going to Europe and even trying, cricket crisps. Cricket is an insect. There are multiple things happening. As a restaurateur, as a food connoisseur, I try and exploring whatever possible.
So you put up an interesting video with your brother, where you, I think on Instagram, where you all decided to build a barbecue pit. How was that like?
Oh, that was beautiful, because we had to kill time. We were prepared for the 21-day first lockdown. So we were actually thinking, what to do. So, my mom actually lives about 10 kilometers away from the city. So it's a pretty big space with, enough nature around. So we thought, why not put up a barbecue pit and do something, let's kill time. So, and we have family around, kids are around. So we had something to, do at in our free time. So this is the first time that I have been free in the past 10 years, I would say. We usually don't take offs because we don't like taking offs. We don't believe in offs because for us, an off day is an opportunity for us for bringing in more business, serving more customers. That's how, we go about doing things. And again, when you're passionate about certain things in life, like I told you, I'm a passionate snooker player. I play snooker at home. Then motorsports, we do a lot of racing at home, me and my brother. Multiple things we try and do and keep ourselves busy. And other times I try and motivate our employees in giving them, tasks, talking to them, reaching out to them, sharing stories with them, or telling them to do something or the other, and talking to these guys and watching over what these guys are doing. That's how I've been pretty much planning my day throughout.
Nice. So we've got Arman Kapoor from Delhi asking you, how are you currently dealing with the blue collar workers at this time?
As the government has requested, no layoffs. We don't believe in laying off our employees. We've never laid off an employee unless he's done a malpractice or a fraudulent act. Otherwise,
Right.
we try and teach them in a way that what is good and what is bad. Like I told you, multiple people coming in from backward communities who don't even know how to hold a toothbrush. So we have basically taught them what is basic hygiene. How do you go about your daily life? Especially with the blue collar work, it's very challenging. It's very difficult for us to converse with them because most of them don't speak our language or the national language. We try and bring in people, who can converse with them, tell them what the issue is all about. And when they have concerns, they come forward and ask us, we make sure that every concern is addressed. And, these are people who are not career oriented. They don't have any objectives in life. For them, end of the day, they want to make sure that their family is getting three square meals a day and they have a bed to sleep on. They have a roof to sleep on. It is quite challenging and difficult to manage blue collar labor. But, by Almighty's blessing, we've come a long way with our challenges on a day-to-day basis. But like I said, having a great team to manage this is always a blessing. Yeah, it's thanks to my team that we manage this on a daily basis without any shortage anywhere.
Okay, and we've got Max Aknur 1981. Please add more vegetarian options, especially late at night, because you only get 3 or 4 options.
Surely, Max, your feedback is taken. We will surely see what we can do our best with. We do have a lot of vegetarian dishes in our menu as of now. And off late, we've introduced a lot of vegetarian dry dishes the past 4 or 5 months ago, in terms of your paneer, mushroom, gobi, aloo. So we are, on a day-to-day basis, trying to understand our customer preferences and, like I said, to meet their every expectation that they have. So we will surely take that as, as important, and we will make sure there are enough vegetarian dishes available for you. Thank you.
And I know over the years, obviously, when you say Empire, everybody's going to talk about Alfam, the chicken kebab, obviously the legendary ghee rice. But now, keeping up with future trends, are you going to possibly introduce something around the fitness community, something vegan, low carb?
Yes, of course. Like I said, we're trying to introduce a lot of new cuisines as well, in a way that we can reach out to our customer. Because we've always, been good at, figuring out and understanding where there is a gap. And we've always tried to fill in those gaps. So we still see a lot of scope, a lot of potential for many of the cuisines to, come down to Bangalore and do it. So healthy being one of the most important there, being in trend. Yes, we're surely going to consider having our healthy dishes in our menus, or probably, let's say, we open a separate brand altogether. That's going to be a surprise. But we will surely come out with newer products and concepts.
Nice. Meghna Mane of SR Gopal Rao asks, how do you maintain consistency in food, taste, and quality across so many outlets? Great question.
Very, very interesting and a very important question. That is what we've understood over the years. We started our centralized operations in 2009. So when we started our centralized operations there, we've brought in newer techniques of, developing our own dishes. Earlier we had very few great hands. So when we had 1 or 2 outlets, consistency was not an issue because it was the same hand cooking the same product every day. But when we started growing, larger than 5 outlets, consistency was always a question. And the people started complaining. They started telling us, we're not getting the same kind of a taste. What is here in this outlet and not that outlet? So then we decided on having a centralized production unit wherein we develop semi-finished products. Let's let it be a marinade, let it be a masala cooking base, let it be a biryani masala. The multiple things that we semi-finish and we send it out in terms of portion control to our outlets. And over there, they have very strict and clear guidelines on how each dish needs to be dished out. Let's take for a simple thing. Let's take a kebab, a chicken kebab for example. In the kebab, the pieces are cut from our butchery. We have a dedicated butchery also in house, managing tons and tons of chicken and meat every day. we have designated cuts. We use about 15 to 20 cuts, designated cuts in terms of poultry only. So the kebab cut is come in a portion controlled packet. The marinade has come in a portion controlled packet. There is no addition or subtraction of any ingredients at the outlets. So all he does, he adds the protein into the marinade, mixes, and he fries. In terms of a curry, he gets the base, he adds the base, adds the oil, adds the protein, does the garnishing. The gravy is ready. So we've simplified our techniques, our operations in a way that we maintain consistency. And quality, yes, quality again comes, we use a lot of natural ingredients. Let's say 100% of the natural ingredients. Simple thing is, simple example would be a chili powder. Chili powder is a very key ingredient in our business. Each time the configuration of a chili powder changes, the outcome of the dish changes. So, we have tied up with world-class brands, world-class companies who are spice houses, who can, who do tons and tons of, let's say, chili powder a day. We have tied up with such people where they give us configured, ingredients to our specification. And that has been consistent throughout. So with such kind of, again, technology is key there. So we try and do a lot of reverse engineering, bringing a lot of new techniques, bringing a lot of, productive ways for us to dish out our, items in the menu. So that way we've been able to, constantly monitor consistency and quality of our dishes coming out.
Nice. That's also great and highlights a point that I forgot in terms of R&D.
Yes.
Okay, I think a couple more questions. We've got Soundar asking any ideas for opening new branches in Tamil Nadu.
Yes, we do have plans, going to multiple cities across South India. For now, we are looking at in Tamil Nadu state, yes, Kerala state, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. We are looking at probably in a year's time, we would be, expanding to different cities, either in a restaurant format or it could be a cloud kitchen format, in any format which we are still trying to understand, which would be the easier thing for us. Because again, it involves a lot of capex as well, going to a new city. And since we have not been, part of any other city other than Bangalore, it's going to be, quite a challenging market for us, to understand different palates, different customer expectations. Each city has got its own king, in terms of a restaurant. So we need to be able to match up to those expectations and, for the customers. Yes, we are looking forward to enter multiple cities in South India.
Yes, you're also in tier 2 cities like Mysore, right?
Yes, of course.
And Sharath Raju says restaurant business is obviously tough, and especially staff management. How do you maintain consistency across? I think that goes back to our initial question. But Sharath, you missed it. You might have to watch the whole thing again.
Yeah.
All right. And we see a lot of Masood chatting. Great. Shahid says they want to know what you eat. And what does Masood eat? I'm guessing Masood is the left-hander.
Yes, let me just give an introduction of our third generation. With me, I have 3 more brothers of mine who are, hand in hand in terms of running
completely family run.
Yeah, parallel run. And these 3 others also have their, specific interest in business. One is really passionate about motorsports. One is passionate about being very creative. One is passionate about bakery. So yes, we've but in third generation, we are looking at a lot of scope, a lot of potential in terms of growing ourselves to not just the Empire brand. We are developing other brands also as part of the family in a group. So yes, like I said, we want to be growing in terms of being known globally, not just a regional brand.
Yeah, you're also going to be building a select number of supercars, the Hyperion one.
Yes, my older brother Shahid, yes.
And fantastic collection of cars.
Thank you.
And you've also got Atti's Bakery by your youngest brother.
Yes. Youngest brothers are. See, Aditya, it's a point of advice. Like always, my brother says, with great victory comes. With great hard work comes great victory, and no pain, no gain. So for us, from my father at least, he was a very disciplined man, and seeing him grow, for me, my role model has always been my father, nobody else. and the tough times that he had to go through in terms of managing a family, managing a large business, the employees, single-handedly how we had to do many things. There's always been a source of inspiration for us. Without anything, without any resources, how could he pull off such a thing in such a stage? Yes, with support from his brothers too. So, we always try in terms of doing business, we need to be disciplined. So only when there's discipline can you achieve a lot of other things, because, people need to respect you for what you are only when you have discipline. So for us in our restaurant, in our business, time is money. We value time. We value other people's time too. So, and yes, in our industry, we work longer hours than usual. We probably are out at least 12 to 13 hours. We get less number of hours of sleep, because yes, it is a very challenging and hands-on business. There is no two ways to it. When you're in the restaurant business, it's a full-time job. You got to be there for your people, for your customers. You can't be sitting at home and operating. So, it is a challenging thing to be, but it's also a very exciting industry to be in, because though your results take time, but when the results come out, it's going to be overwhelming, because you're bringing out a million smiles. It's not just one person that's going to be happy. Each time you dish out a perfect dish, a million smiles happen. People are coming back for the same kind of an experience, because, people think of Empire in sadness, happiness. That's even, I've seen my own friends, binging on Empire kebab when they're happy, binging on, for us, Empire, when it comes to Empire, for people, it's more of an emotion. So that's the kind of feeling that we want to develop. That's kind of an expectation that we want to send out to our customers. Each time you walk in, we want to make sure that you have a better experience, and we are striving hard to do whatever possible to keep our customers happy. Yes, in every business things go wrong. Every chef has a bad day. There are multiple issues wherein insects flying into the restaurant, into the dish. We've had many complaints in many different ways. We've had unruly customers, but like I said, it's all about what you choose to be important. Is it your customer being important, or you being important yourself? So like I told you, we've kept everything else in front of our people. It's our customer end of the day. Whether he's right or wrong, customer is always key.
Nice. Okay, so wow, this is more questions coming. So last 5 questions. Are you good with that?
Yes, please, of course. Why not?
Okay, we've got Ashwin Shenoy Balram. Any plans to enter the FMCG sector with the Empire brand? Let's say the snacks segment.
Yes, fingers crossed. Yes, we will.
Tandoori chicken chips. I mean, I've gone.
See, that is a very creative segment. FMCG is a very creative segment, and in time, yes, we will be out with world-class products, newer concepts, newer ways of eating our signature dishes. Yes, we will do things around Empire itself in terms of FMCG. Yeah.
Nice. And you've got a potential business partner. Arman Kapoor of Wingreen Sauces says they'd love for you to sample their sauces and mayos for your outfits.
Yes, of course. You can get in touch. We can do something together.
I'll connect you.
No, yeah, but I've heard of Ingreens. You can always get in touch with our office. My production general manager is there. You can always get in touch. We never say no to anybody coming forward with a newer product or a newer concept. We try and see if it's feasible enough. If we can, have a relationship, why not?
Right. Sakit, any plans to open any more branches in Dubai?
Nothing as of now. We are not planning to expand in the Middle East as of now. Our complete focus would be in our home country itself.
Okay. Chef Chaya Mandana has an interesting question. Actually, everybody's questions are interesting and unique. What do you foresee happening in the restaurant sector with everything that's going on, with social distancing? I read a report where the government's saying that, the whole restaurant industry is going to change that way.
Absolutely, because these are times wherein we cannot expect what is going to happen, and we are surely looking for the lockdown to be extended in a way our dine-in sales can probably start. I'm expecting to start post June end. because the social distancing factor, the restaurants are always falling into the public gathering category. So we will not be in a position to start off our dine-in operations until, let's say, June, because the cases are spiking up in multiple cities in multiple states across the country. So it makes it a very difficult position for the government also to make certain decisions, because whatever they decide is for the betterment of the people of the country. And it's our duty that we oblige with the government. We try and understand on what basis they're taking such decisions for us, and we are hand in hand with the government authorities, working in a way that we maintain social distancing in our outlets. Also, when we have home delivery orders, we have given markings on the floor in a way even our aggregator boys come and follow that kind of a social distancing pattern. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay, and the last one is, what is the concept of Empire Central Kitchen?
Well, that would be a very detailed discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so you
See,
can get in touch with.
to give it in a brief, it's all about consistency. We developed that central kitchen in a way that we can give uniform, standardized products across all our outlets, let it be in Bangalore or let it be outside Bangalore.
Right. And more so, when did, and finally, or lastly, a couple of questions. When did you decide to start launching on the highways? I mean, you're at very crucial junctions also. Mysore Road, obviously, that's like a no-brainer.
Yes.
But then in terms of Hassan, that was
Yeah, I'll
your
tell you,
date project.
it's quite interesting, when we started off with the Madur outlet, the Bangalore-Mysore highway started forming into a 4-lane highway. So, why did the government do that? They were doing it for ease of our commuters, because disposable income started coming in. People are able to buy cars, motorbikes. And, in terms of time travel, distance travel, with better road facilities, it makes it easier for people to travel. And Bangalore-Mysore has been such a trade-oriented route. People from Mysore come into Bangalore for trade. From Bangalore, people go into Mysore, and also it is a hotspot. Mysore is also a hotspot wherein it connects from other states as well. Kerala has a connection with Mysore. If you have the people coming in from the northern part of Kerala, they have to come in through Mysore. So we found a great potential there in terms of the traffic growing. So with the traffic growing, we took a risk. So there was an ongoing restaurant. It was a Halli Mane basically. So the landlord wanted to give it away. So we saw an opportunity there. We took up the place, spent a bit of money, did up the whole place, and it took us about a year, for the sales to get stabilized. And it was just growing. Sometimes in off seasons it used to be down, but over the years, the Bangalore-Mysore route has grown so enormously that there is every brand present there. So with that, like I said, with the ease of commuting for customers, with the better infrastructure in place, multiple states, though, let's say the Kolar highway, the Hassan highway. Now, why Hassan? Hassan is connecting place to a lot of tourist areas. Shravanabelagola, your Chikmagalur. So a lot of movement happening there. And, with the disposable income coming in, people want to get out with their vehicles on a long drive, let's say a weekend getaway. So whilst they're going on their getaway, even at that time, we want to make sure we are there for our customers. That's the whole idea of, opening in the highway outlets. And we are looking at other potential highways as well. We are trying to partner with the landlords in a way, but they develop the property and we run the show with them. So we are having multiple business models also. Where landlords approach us, they tell us, boss, we will invest. Why don't you run the show for us with your brand name? Because that is, they want to be associated with the brand name like Empire. Where they know their returns have been consistent. All our landlords who have been working with us, we have 100 odd landlords who are working with us. They've always been very happy with the way, the tenant that I have. They always believed in us. And in difficult times like these, they've helped us. They've come forward and helped us in terms of our rents, in terms of the other payments that are there. So that's the kind of faith we have developed over the years for our customers, for our landlords, for our landlords who are us acting as investors also. So we have 3 or 4 outlets where we work on such kind of a model where the landlords have invested and we are running the show for them. There are multiple things we work on. We are flexible in many ways. So we also want to grow. Whatever opportunity for us in terms of growth, we try and grab it.
Nice. All right, last two questions. We've got fellow restaurateurs landing up. Vikash Parekh of Green Theory and Cafes of India says, "Thank you for always inspiring us and giving us some beautiful memories."
Thank you, guys. It's always an honor to have people thank us. But yes, again, like I said, it's the staff who's our backbone. It's not just me alone.
Nice. We've got P. George saying, "Kerala people will definitely accept this love from Bangalore." And then finally, I think Sharat Raju has decided to end this conversation saying, "Empire embraces my palate, hence I return every time."
Thank you. That is all.
Bro, I'm really hungry. I wish I could go down to Castle Street and eat.
You could just call, man. You could just call it.
I know. I'm
0,
hoping
0,
for
0,
some
0,
vegetarian
0,
to come.
1, that's all you gotta do.
I'm hoping for some vegetarian and some KP to land up, but okay.
For sure.
I'll go find
we will introduce our pure vegetarian concept in Bangalore as well soon. We are looking forward to do that as well.
Awesome. And finally, wow. Ashwin is back. Masood says, "Shakir, do you cook?"
Yes, of course. I like it. I'm a food connoisseur and I like trying my.
And you can't be CEO and not cook.
I cook for my own happiness, not to show people. So yesterday I cooked a Lebanese dish for breakfast. Yes.
Okay. Did you make hummus and baba ganoush?
No, it's not hummus. It's a breakfast dish called full mudamas. So it's basically with chickpeas and fava beans. So it's a very healthy dish. So I did that yesterday and served my family. And pretty much.
Looking forward to seeing it at Karama soon.
Hopefully, let's see.
Okay. And okay. Ashwin is back and he says, "How would you look at the restaurant sector for India in 2030? I don't think 2030 is predictable, is it?
No. I can probably.
Even 2021 is pretty hard.
I can probably talk for the next 3 years.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Nothing, man. See, looking into the current scenario, do the things, stay home, stay safe. Social distancing is key, guys. And we are all praying and hoping that we come out of this, coronavirus thing that is going on as soon as possible and everything gets back to normalcy. Even for us restaurateurs, it's not normal. When there is hustle, bustle, noise, issues, problems, that is when we are, content and happy.
Right. Awesome. Anything else? I think that's about it.
Yes, that's about it. Thank you so much,
awesome.
Aditya.
Thank you so much.
The Good City. And it's an honor, to always come online and, share my knowledge with you, share my learnings with you. And, if I can inspire a lot of people, well and good. I would be honored that because I've been inspired by many individuals who've come online and spoken. And thank you so much, Aditya, once again for having me on board Good City to, inspire other people and also talk about our popular brand called Empire. Thank you once again, guys. Stay home, stay safe.
Thanks. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for being part of today's episode. We're back on Monday with Raja Arjun, an architect and interior designer. Stay tuned. See you soon. And do check out the Good City Show on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks. Bye.